One race remains before playoff season kicks off in earnest. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Prairie States, and welcome to the Kansas Speedway. It is going to be a barn burner of a show this afternoon with just 1 week left to decide who starts in the round of 12. My name is Little Ramble alongside Derek Watson. We are bringing you all of racing action from start to finish on this absolutely fantastic Monday night. Derek, this race has been a long time coming. It's the first time Kansas is playing host to the playoff decider, and I think we can both agree at the most treacherous mile and a half that there is, we're in for a good show.
Yeah, we're in for a great show. You know, it's interesting to say there's always all the references to the Wizard of Oz when we come to Kansas, and some people say there's no place like home. Well, I know for a fact, Nolan, there are at least 3 drivers on that cut line who would rather be anywhere else because they do not feel at home not being safe in the points. Take a look at him here. Look at that cutoff. Remember, 12th is the last spot. So Connor Gibson, Ty Marasco, those are 13th and 12th, and then Jonathan Canfield's up in 11th. Not many points are separating these drivers. Only about 20 points between those 3 spots. So 2 of those drivers are not making the playoffs.
Canfield, Marasco, Gibson are realistically the 3 drivers that are right now duking it out. They got 10 points separated. A lot of them. It's about 30 up to Bob Berry, and then it's about another 40 back to the likes of Nick Osipek. Osipek not present this afternoon. He is not going to be a factor in this playoff run. Bob Berry, though, interestingly enough, he is also absent from racing action this afternoon. So Bob Berry, like you mentioned, he could find himself on the outside looking in as well. Very curious to see how this one's going to pan out. Championship-wise, there's a lot to be excited about up at the top as well. It's a tight points battle between Kilbro and Thorpe for the regular season championship. Only 6 separate them.
Yeah, only 6 up top, so there's a lot of seeding to be decided in the playoffs with these top drivers. It's more. There's a lot more races going on than I think what we're going to focus on. But you're right. I think for Bob Berry to be in trouble, it would have to be like a Gibson, Marasco, Canfield 1, 2, 3. All those guys would have to max points for Bob Berry to really, I think, feel concerned at this point. As long as 2 of those 3 drivers are kind of having mediocre days, Bob Berry will be safe. Well, here we are, Nolan. This is, weirdly enough, the second youngest track on the High Tide Racing League schedule. Only Iowa, I believe, is newer. Iowa was formed in 2006, I believe, or when it opened, I should say. This track opened first races in 2001. So lots of racing's been done here, but in a way, this is one of our younger tracks.
It sure is, right? And, I mean, that's part of what makes Kansas so excited. The fact that it is such a young racetrack and the fact that there is so much that's going on around this place that, well, I think it's safe to say a lot of drivers this afternoon, they're going to be having a good time at this place. I mean, there is a lot there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of nuances to this place, and we'll be able to go over all of those nuances in just a little while. For now, we're going to take a quick step back. We'll get through our opening ceremonies. We'll be back in about 60 with the starting grid. Buckle up. It's going to get wild in Kansas. So with that all said and done, there is only one race left before the playoff season kicks off proper. This is your starting grid coming at you from the Kansas Speedway. Started this race on pole position. It is Nick Nickerson. Went outhouse at the penthouse in season number 2 to take the W here, trying to go back-to-back at Kansas Speedway. Points leader Dalton Kilroe down in the number 2 spot, 2/10 off the mark. From there, it's Benjamin Lacey in 3rd with Scott Shire in 4th. Dustin Ping, defending champion, brings it up in 5th with points runner-up Michael Thorpe Jr. in 6th. Lakey is 7th, Sean Williams is 8th, Hayden Wheeler and Brian Dees close out the top 10.
Moving back into P11 is Ricky Hart Jr. And then behind him in P12 is Jonathan Canfield, one of those drivers we focused on in our pre-race talk. Jaden Hopp and Tanner Marr, 13th and 14th with John Osborne and Samuel Bumgarten back there in row 8. And then Paul Seth Mary and Ty Marasco back there in row 9. And then row 10, Larry Bell and Connor Gibson.
From there, moving on down through this field, you're going to have the next gap of cars coming on up. It's going to be Craig Martin, Carter Phillips, Kevin Foster, Paul Mikulicek, Bob Berry, Kyle Wellman, Michael Ashmore, and Robert Lucas. They're going to be the next bunch to take a trip through. But my goodness, I mean, what a race we're in for this afternoon. It is going to be wild. It is going to be fast. It's going to be furious. There is a lot that's going to be happening before racing action is over this afternoon.
Yeah, and one of the beautiful things about this track is there's no quote-unquote correct line. There's lines that drivers prefer, but what I'm saying is this is a multi-groove racetrack. So you'll see drivers up riding the wall. You'll see drivers probably just above the first seam in the corners. You'll see them all over the place, trying to make moves, trying to make passes, trying to gain momentum. So there's lots of opportunity here for drivers to make up space.
Plenty of opportunities for drivers to make up space. Plenty of chances to bottle it as well, though. And now, I think with that all said and done, who's going to be on top? Cautions tend to be very, very few at the Kansas Speedway. Pretty cautious so far is the record that we have seen with the High Tide Race League MFRD Designs Premier Series. Will we set a new record? Will we stay under the 3 caution record for this racetrack? We'll find out in about 2 hours' time. Into the Geico Restart Zone, it's go, go, go for the regular series season finale!
It up. We saw in the back of that shot, Ty Marasco already having problems. That car wiggled through 1 and 2, and I think he's got it gathered. You'll see him come around here in a second, but scary moment for Ty Marasco, trying to do everything possible to have a good result tonight.
Not a good outing for Ty Marasco. Michael Ashmore just now leaving pit road. You see him making his way out onto the racetrack here in turn number 1. He had to start from pit road with a 1-lap penalty due to an incident that happened last week at Martinsville. He is now taking off, and we are now in full force into the middle of this race.
Now, the goodness for Ashmore, the race is young, and so he's the only driver a lap down. So if or when there is a caution, that'll put him in the lucky dog spot, and he'll get it back, but obviously a frustrating way to start a race. But look at this battle here, 2 wide. You'll see drivers going to use the apron here. You'll see them stick up top through the corners. You'll see all kinds of lines being used. It's got a beautiful battle here happening up here towards the front of this field.
Yeah, no kidding. A fantastic fight that we got on our hands right now as several drivers are trying to fight their way through some of these middle lines. Multi-groove racing, that is, I think, the big key right now at this racetrack, right, is how do you manage these different lines? Outside lane tends to be a relatively favored line. Here you see Jaden Hopp making his return after debut just last week. He's looking to the inside of David Lakey, trying to get around a series veteran gunning for the number 8 spot.
Lots of quick moves being made to the bottom there by that pink and black machine. Now, what it makes me wonder, to be honest with you, though, is if he keeps up that pace, what is he sacrificing later? If this run stays green as this track tends to do for the High Tide Racing League, is he burning everything up? We'll find out. Sometimes you go forward and then you quickly sink backwards if you're being too aggressive.
So Jaden Hopp going to continue on his strong run through the middle of this pack. Further down the field, mostly single file. One more car looking inside. That is Paul Mikulicek, the Penguin RC Racecraft Academy car. Up to the high side, trouble back straight away. Canfield going around, sliding down into the infield grass. Tanner Marr going down with him. No caution yet, though. 2 cars under the line, and we will stay green.
We're going to stay green, as you said. Both those cars wrecked under what is deemed by iRacing to be the racing line. So we'll keep this green and keep moving along as we see Nickerson leads yet another lap here. So that every lap so far, all 6. And watch this replay here coming out of the corner. We'll see who comes and makes contact with who. Oh, just from behind, I believe the 16 just got ran over by the 23, who might have had some help as well, because those cars were all tightly packed together.
And that is going to send us right back to live pictures as this pack will continue to work itself up and around. Sean Williams, Scott Shire, Jaden Hobb. Right now, the 3 cars fighting for the last spot inside the top 5. Just behind them is Thorpe, Lakey, Wheeler, and Dees. So far, not too much side-by-side outside of those first 3 laps. We have a single file to that quick at Kansas.
I'm impressed by the runs that are happening on the bottom of this track so early and so quickly. I know it works, but I'm impressed the number of drivers who are willing to try it. Typically, you'll see that migration happen over a run, but there you see that 81 machine. He is just committed to the bottom. There's, I think we saw Ben Lacey right behind him, I believe in that blue and black machine it was. So I'm surprised so many drivers are committing to the bottom.
Sometimes the inside lane is the place to be. Some drivers might still be on the old Martinsville mindset where that line is predominantly the fastest way around. But Dalton Kilbro is on the backslide. He's lost 2 spots in 1 lap. First to Dustin Ping and then to Benjamin Lacey. 2 prior champions in this league. You have to wonder, though, is this because Dalton Kilbro has burned his stuff up already 9 laps in? Or is he potentially saving his equipment for late in the run?
Yeah, it makes you wonder if maybe we learned something from last week and over the past week of racing with some drivers who, weren't saving equipment correctly. And we've seen a couple broadcasts this past week where drivers were either out of gas or out of tires or just different things that happened that caused a lot of drama. So it makes me wonder if maybe some people are now going to back off and just kind of ride, just be comfortable. Just, you don't have to be up on the wheel every lap. I mean, I know 135 laps goes fairly fast under green, but you have some time here. You don't need to be 100% of the time. But here we go towards the back of the field. There's John Osborne in the middle of your screen. This is, going back in the field. This is P15 on back. There's Martin, there's Phillips back there, and Hart are all battling for the spot.
Ricky Hart Jr., a driver that we have not seen much since season number 1. He's alongside Bob Gordon. Look out, Phillips! Goodness. Huge tank slapper off of turn number 4. He'll slide down, still pedaling the car into the tri-oval. He'll get it back settled now as they hit turn 1, but a big moment there now, still pedaling it through 1 and 2.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe there's some big damage to that car or if he's just rattled. It could be either or. He's got the car to the top. People are going by fairly quickly. That 30 car here. Carter Phillips, I think, has it gathered. I think he's okay. There's no indication from iRacing of required repairs on that car, but man, watch this here. Just gets it loose, never saves it. Man, look at how much those hands are seesawing back and forth like he's arm wrestling a grizzly bear.
And it wasn't over up top in 1 and 2. You still see him pedaling. This was actually the lap before, so this was before it actually went all sorts of awry for him. And then
remember we said you don't have to be 100% of the time? This is a great example of that right here, lift out. That's what you do as a driver. You see that just watching the RPM meter. There's no lift there. He is full throttle. When that happens to you as a race car driver, you need to lift. You need to get off the gas, let the car settle. But he's so intent on saving the car that he's trying to go faster, and he's only making it worse.
And he almost, I think he did catch the outside wall there coming off of turn 2. So the driver to South Carolina really not helping his case early on here. Another fight on for the number 2 spot. Dustin Ping trying to fend off Benjamin Lacey. Lacey catches the wall entering turn 1. He's going to scrape all along it. Kilbro gets through. Shire gets through. Williams and Hobbs sizing him up as well.
And sometimes that's the danger of running that high lane, right? You're right up there against that wall, and the best way to run for some drivers is to run that high lane, what some people in real life would call the Larson line. Well, the danger in the Larson line is you're just a bit from tapping that wall, and once you do, it's frustrating. It slows the car down, it gets you frustrated, the sound of scraping the wall gets on your nerves, and it becomes difficult very, very quickly. So you look at our stats here for the race. You see our sim date, February 17th of 2025. You see the track temp and the air temp pretty close together. There should be a lot of grip in this track. Nolan, I mean, that's 69, 70 degrees track temp. That should mean there's plenty of grip to be had here across all the lanes.
You would think, but it doesn't seem to be that way, as now Bob Berry has gone around off of turn 4, slides it out into the infield grass. He'll get it back onto the racetrack. No hard, no foul. We'll keep going green, but a lot of close calls in the opening salvo.
We talked, though, about the difference in two, I don't want to call them wrecks, but two incidents there between Bob Berry and the last car we saw do that, where Bob, you could tell, just kind of got off the gas. The car did its thing. It settled. It wasn't wiggling. It wasn't fighting him. And he got back into it. That's the difference between how patient you can be when you need to save a race car. And he just had to ride through the grass. It was going to happen. He was just along for the ride, and he sort of accepted his fate.
Yeah, kind of accepted that, as it were, and now he's going to drop all the way down the field as a result. He was already kind of low down to the field. Critically, at least he's on the racetrack. We thought initially he might not be present this afternoon, but now he can work to keep that spot. And I think at this point, Bob Berry, no matter where he finishes, should be more or less safe with his playoff run. The big question right now is, where do the other two finish?
Yeah, I would agree with that. So now it's down to Canfield, Gibson, and Marasco, and seeing where those three finish. And likely the person who, essentially likely the person who finishes best will advance, but I mean, there's a 20-point gap between them, so that's not necessarily true. But if you're one of these three drivers, if you're Marasco, if you're Gibson, if you're Canfield, you have to just do everything you can to win this race. That has to be the goal. It has to happen. And later in the night, we'll talk about some comments that a couple of the drivers have given pre-race about how they feel and what's going on. But boy, oh boy, here's Gibson right now on your screen at number 31. That Sprite machine, the blue and green iconic Sprite colors, as Gibson's running back here in P13.
Right now, Gibson definitely the highest, and he would be able to take away that final playoff spot by a country mile. He might be able to get some extra security spots as well, because these guys are still side by side up here, still fighting for whatever spots they can get. Nick Nickerson, meanwhile, checking out up the road, 2.6 seconds up. And right now, if it continues on this way to the end of the race, Nick could be on one of the most dominant runs we've seen in this league. He already pulled that off last time out here, won that race by over 20 seconds, could go for the double this afternoon.
Yeah, but I want to make a call back to a show you and I did, I think, Friday night, where we saw a dominant race sort of like this, right? We saw a leader who got out front, who dominated, who sort of walked on it, but then never thought anything about gas spiders, never thought anything about all the what-ifs that came with it, and then ended up finding himself, in a really bad spot towards the end of the race. It's good for all those reasons. So being out front has an advantage of, listen, you're out front, you're likely away from the mess, you're away from the ruckus, you're less likely to end up in a caution, but you're bringing up so much stuff right now. You're bringing up so much gas that maybe you need to think about backing up a little bit and saving some gas.
On board with Jaden Hopp, trying to make the move for the number 2 spot to the inside of Dalton Kilroe, making his debut just last week at Martinsville. It was a bit up and down for Jaden Hopp, but still came away with a decent position. Now he's going for his first high-time Race League podium to the inside of the 41.
The good news for the 41 is that he is safely, of course, in the playoffs. Been our points leader for most, if not all, season. But I wonder what's in the 41's head right now. You and I talked, after last week, he showed some displeasure post-race. He got put on probation for a few races for showing some displeasure with a pass that was made on him towards the end of the race. When you're on probation, you almost can't race like it, Nolan. If you start to race like it, you start to be more careful so you don't end up in trouble. Your car will be in trouble, and your spots will be in trouble. So that's a difficult, seesaw to walk across in that moment.
Especially since we are now in critical situations for the overall championship. Of course, after this week, we kick off the round of 12, and first race there going to be at, Auto Club Speedway, a track where mistakes can happen easily. The track after that, the only other road course race of the season, apart from the Charlotte road course, Watkins Glen International. And then it's Atlanta immediately after. That is 3 racetracks, each of them with not a lot of room for error and not good tracks to be on probation at, except for maybe the Glen.
in three very different disciplines, right? You have a big 2-mile track that's going to race like almost like a Kansas, bigger. You have a road course, and listen, there are drivers who are great oval drivers that are horrible road course drivers, and vice versa. And then there are drivers who are great at both. And then you have Atlanta, which races very fast. Even on the old format, no matter which layout of Atlanta you're using, it's a fast track with very little room for error. So if I'm coming to those playoffs, I want to be up at the top of the points, and I want to make sure I can find myself a race to circle, on the calendar and say that's my race to do well in. Because with 3 different tracks, 3 different, racing types, it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top of the points there.
We're about 10 laps away from pit stops kicking off as well. Estimated fuel run was about 34, 36 laps, give or take. So that'll be coming on up before too long. A bit of side-by-side action behind, and whoa, Marasco washing up the track big time and nearly puts him and Phillips into the wall of the tri-oval. Yeah,
there's a scary moment for both those drivers right there, wasn't it? Just some scary moments with some wiggling. And here's your first pit stop, that's the 23. That is Tanner Marr. He has a black flag for what? I'm confused.
Yeah. How do you get a black flag under green here? Unless he did come in hot. Did he overspeed on pit road entry?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That would be my
Oh, yes, he did. Look at that.
You're right.
Nowhere close to making that.
No, and he's called it a night. So that's a little early. I wonder if Tanner Marr had something happen where he had to leave the race, because that was an early pit stop, and then he just instantly called it a night. Oh, there's a car in the wall, and Marasco almost got clobbered.
And that's what I think unsettled him and caused him to wash way up the racetrack in the middle of the tri-oval. He was trying to avoid Carter Phillips initially, and that's what brought all of this about. But racing action continues on as per Shire, Ping, and Lacey. All under a blanket right here as well. And there you can see the real Earth Films number 7 power sliding off of turn number 4. I love racing at Kansas. It is truly something spectacular. We've had a few. The one gripe I have is it can be a bit hard to draw cautioners sometimes. That 2-3 car wreck we saw earlier probably should have been our first caution of the night, but because it was onto the racetrack there, nope.
Yeah, that is the difficult part. I agree with you. But this track has a lot of challenges to it. It looks, quote unquote, very standard, if you will. Your typical mile and a half. I mean, out of turn 4 especially, this track is anything but standard. There's a lot of different lines you could take that'll get that car snappy loose, especially in these Xfinity cars, which I see all the time by default are probably the most loose of the 3 NASCAR, top class vehicles we have in our racing. Here's a nice battle, by the way. This is John Osborne doing a great job in that tied ride. Gets clear and gets to go down there by himself. That's Craig Martin and Ricky Hart Jr. behind him. And the only thing I think about when I watch Osborne, though, sorry to cut you off, is, man, look at that line Osborne is taking. And watch it again here out of 4. When he wants to start racing more towards the front of the field, Nolan, watch this track out. Watch all the space he's going to leave here. That is speed you're not getting out of the corner. That is speed you're scrubbing off of those wheels by turning that car. You have to track out way further than what he's doing. Watch it here. Now down to 1. It's going to be here in turn 2. Watch the space that's left here. That's better. That's way better than what he did over there at turn 4. He's missing a lot of space on those track outs.
He's missing a lot, could gain some time. Maybe he'll figure it out. What might be hurting him, though, is that glare coming off at turn number 4. I mean, that glare is nasty right now on these race cars. Let's ride on board here with Nick Nickerson. This is what the drivers see. Watch this sun glare coming on around here through the final corner. Right there. That is shining directly into your eyes. That might be upsetting his line. He probably can't see the track outline.
Yeah, and that may be. And when you're a driver in that spot, you're begging for that sun to go down. You're anything, would you please?
Well, Mikulicek right there. Or Mikulicek almost getting into David Lakey off of turn 4. Ricky Hart Jr., the first car to bail down pit road for a scheduled pit stop.
Yeah, this would have seemed to be a scheduled pit stop, so Ricky Hart will kick us off here on lap 33. So that would tell us we have 2 more pit stops, maybe 3 more coming, because if you do the math, 33, 66, 99, about 120 something. So this is very interesting to see that this is going to be a multi-pit stop race. Now the drivers who can stretch this out, I think if you can get to lap 35, 36, 37, you might shave a pit stop off at the end.
Could very well do just that, and it would not be the first time we've seen something like that. It wouldn't be the first time drivers had the chance to do something like that. So Shire and Lacey going to work their way around as well as they get set to make that approach to pit road this time around. They will stay out for one more lap, trying to push this stint as long as physically possible. Cannot say I blame them. Trying to maybe hope for a caution to come out, then they can get back on cycle. This field has split apart quickly, though. You can really tell this is a driver's racetrack, and that's why I don't really agree with the term of phrase cookie-cutter racetrack. Sure, they all look the same, but none of them drive even remotely close. Yep. The strategies needed to race at Kansas, not going to work in Kentucky, not going to work at Vegas, and vice versa.
No, I agree 100%. You're right about that. Each one has their own characteristics, their own banking, their own everything about it. Here's another car down pit road, by the way. So see pit stops are well underway. This is on lap 36. This is 36, 72, 108. That would be the last stop there for Dustin Pink. So he may have shaved off a pit stop. So I'm concerned for Hart that by pitting those few laps early, Nolan, that he may have put himself in an unfortunate splash and dash compared to the rest of the field.
Race leader Nick Nickerson coming down to pit road, and he's going to take Benjamin Lacey, and with him, Lacey slides! No! Lacey spins on the entry, tags the wall! That's the devastating mistake!
No.
Backs up, almost takes out Lakey, but that is going to cost Lacey easily about 10 seconds on the racetrack, at least
that. Yeah, look at that. And by the way, just noting here while we're going through pit stop, Dustin Ping, black flag.
Really?
Lots going on here on pit road. Maybe some pit road practice not done pre-race, but yep, Dustin Ping, black flag. I'm assuming also going to be for too hot entering. Have not confirmed. There's a car in the grass.
That's Kilrow.
That's Kilrow, and he's slow. He might just be slow to save the car, but that car looks dreadfully slow. There's the 4. There's the 31 of Connor Gibson.
I'm willing to bet he tried to come to pit road and missed the entry.
Yeah.
Well, at least they're not sliding through their pit stalls, so that's one plus. But right now, the whole field coming down to pit road. We'll take a look at everything that happened coming on down from Lacey to Kilrow and more once this pit cycle finishes off. But 4 tires and fuel seems to be the call universally.
Yeah, no reason it wouldn't be right now. You just have to do that. You have to accept it. You need the tires here. We see the cars already slipping and sliding. So, yeah, obviously that's the call here. Everyone's going to do it.
By Marasco, flirting with the boundaries in the background, but Dalton Kilrow, the next car to come down to pit road, and this time he will make it in safe and sound, while others are already on their way out. John Osborne is in a pit road along with others. Right now, Michael Ashmore has stayed out on the racetrack. He still has yet to come down to pit road. Dustin Ping and Hayden Wheeler, both with very long stops.
Yeah, Dustin Ping had a black flag, did confirm, by the way. Pit road speed for the record is 45 miles an hour. He hit the yellow cone going 60.
Ooh, that'll do it. That would.
That's a little over, right? Yeah.
In some states, that can get you arrested for reckless driving.
That's felony speeding almost, right? So, yeah. So unfortunate for him. So he served a long pit stop to get that black flag out of the way. So that'll put him well behind the 8 ball as of this point. Here we are working lap 40. We're nearly a third of the way through this race. It feels like lots have happened, but also not much has happened if you are the leader. So let's watch a few things here. This is Ben Lacey. First off, comes down pit road. It's a little too hot. Got on the brakes pretty hard, locked it up. Now the scary part's gonna come right here. You can't do that. That's the part, because he almost hit David Lakey. You couldn't tell from that camera angle, but he came maybe within, I don't know, not much. A couple feet, it felt like. Here's Kilrow.
What was that?
Yeah, he just missed it. Look at that. He got on the brakes really hard, realized he missed his spot, I think, locked him up, and then wasn't able to angle it down to pit road. And here's what we saw. This is him slow. And now we know why, because he basically locked it up. Watch this here.
Man.
Did he decide super late? I wonder if he just got zoned out and kind of forgot we were pitting this time by.
Probably.
Because, I mean, you shouldn't be that high if you're pitting.
Or that
So I don't know what
fast.
happens. Or that fast. Yeah, that too.
That is
So
one of
here's-
the weirdest missed approaches I've ever seen.
Yeah, maybe if we get a caution out, if that ever happens, we'll try to grab Kill Row and ask about it, because that's a weird moment. Well, here's a battle on track. This is Connor Gibson. Remember, he's one of the 3 drivers fighting to get that last elusive playoff spot. So here he is right now in P11. And if we take a look at that, look at this board on the left of your screen. Looking for Canfield, not there. So right now, I believe Gibson is our top of those 3 drivers.
Sure is, and he's looking pretty good while he's at it. Oh, but Brian Dees wants to go. Gives him almost a bit of a shot to the shorts there, coming around through turn 4 and back down the front stretch. Dees will take that away with little well, maybe not. I think that outside lane started to come in a bit more here.
Yeah, it will. It'll start to come in as those tires warm up a little bit and as people get more comfortable. That outside lane is going to give you more momentum out of the corner, right? You're going to carry a little bit more speed. You can gas a little sooner. So that'll be easy for Connor Gibson to do. Look, climbing the hill there. That's kind of uncomfortable to watch. When you start climbing the hill in the middle of the corner, I get concerned about if it's your choice or not that you're climbing that hill.
Look at how far back Dalton Kilroy has fallen. He lost 15 seconds as a result of all of that. He had come down well, he tried to come down when he was around where Hop and Shire were. Now all the way back here in 13th because of that mistake. And that is how quickly things can go wrong. And, I mean, that is devastating for the 41's race.
It is. I mean, like I said, luckily for him, he's in. There's no question. Now you can just kind of take tonight and breathe, say, okay, you know what? The good news is I made that dumb mistake before the playoffs began, right? Like, I got it out of the way. You know, every driver, I think, thinks they have a piece of bad luck coming at some point. So maybe in his mind, he's like, you know what? That's the best time for that to happen. Let me shake it off. Let's keep driving. Let's be out here tonight, looking to have some fun.
Further down the order, Jonathan Canfield, one of the other drivers trying to get into the playoffs. He is stuck in a fight with Kyle Wellman and bobbling all sorts of sideways as they hit the American Ethanol backstretch. Wellman, will he look high? He sure will look high. The number 42 Mustang will pull around the high side of the number 42 Mustang and easily pick off Canfield with little effort. Wellman pitted 2 laps later, so his tires 2 laps fresher and not ideal for, well, it's not ideal for Canfield, let's say that much.
No, in fact, it's not ideal. In fact, he and I had a brief conversation before the race, and he kind of told me he was, unpleased with how he's run this season. He's unpleased he's in this spot. Said he didn't really have a focus or a game plan tonight. Said he was just going to go out, take no risks, and try to do well. Said I credit a lot of the fact that I'm unfazed to my time in the military because I'm used to focusing on what I need to do and get things done. And I like and appreciate all that. But man, if I was in his spot tonight coming in, Nolan, I would have a game plan. I would have a focus. I would have a plan, whether it be, don't do what the leader does, whether it be I had to focus on qualifying and put myself towards the front. Coming in with no focus and no game plan, to me, does not sound like a recipe for success.
Critically, I think the one thing that's saving Canfield here is the fact that he entered this race 10 points to the good on that cut window. He was 11th place entering this race, 389 points, entering with Connor Gibson's 379. The problem for him is Connor Gibson's positioning is extremely good right now. It is about 10 spots up, right on the cusp of what Gibson needs. Caution flag is out.
Yeah, we'll come back to that talk about strategy in the playoffs. We got to find out what the yellow flag is here. We're just on lap 50 of 135, our first yellow of the night. This will change some strategies. It will change some moments right here, I bet. So Paul South Mary, we think is going to be the cause of the caution. We'll wait for the replay machine to load up here and see what exactly happened. Boy, if you're Nick Nickerson, this must be frustrating and depressing and annoying because you had a 5-second lead. You were walking away from the field, and now they're all going to get a second shot. So watch it here. There's South Mary. That's wild. That's a word I'll use for the moment.
Ooh.
I'm curious about the 5 or 10 seconds before that replay, Nolan, because is that in slow motion?
It is.
Okay,
Half
I'm
speed.
curious about the full, because I'll tell you right now, in slow motion, that looks maybe more suspect than it needs to look. I'd be curious about the 5 or 10 seconds before that, because that, man, watch it here.
This is the lap on the lead
out.
out. This is as close as we can get.
Let's watch it here. It's going to come out through the corners, all by himself. Car maybe is a little loose right there. I thought I saw it wiggle out a little bit. Comes down the back straight. Watch this here. Now it's going to come down. This will be 3 and 4. Down towards the bottom seam. That's definitely a line. Maybe a little too low, but not incredibly awful. And the car gets out from under him. Car gets out from under him. Wrecking for 10 seconds. Did he just never lift? Maybe never tries to save. Well, he tries to save the car in his own way, but never lifted, I don't think. Watch this here. Watch the RPM meter. He's between 7 and 8 right now. Wheel starts to turn to the right. Hands are in the way, but again, another. Man, that's so frustrating to see. Another great example of why you have to lift here. You can't save the car and stay in the gas.
It tried to pedal out of it, and it just wasn't happening. We've seen a few cars try that tonight. I think most notably before that, I believe, was it Wheeler that tried to do that?
That was
earlier
Martin
on?
we saw earlier try to do that. Yeah.
Tanner Martin. Oh no, Craig Martin. You're right, Craig Martin. Yeah.
Craig Martin we saw try that.
Yeah, tried it, and well, he saw just about how well it went for him, but it didn't go to plan. Pit stops, there have been a few of them. Mikulicek led them on down, so everybody from 10th on back to about 16th has pitted under this caution flag, and then 17th on down. I think those are all drivers that were laps down, so they are just kind of taking it easy as it is, and a few more coming down pit road. These are all cars that are already off the lead lap.
Well, tell you what, Nolan, let's do this. Let's take a second here, and I want to get some answers to some questions. I want to use some investigative journalism, as you will. I'm going to do this. I'm going to invite Dalton Kilrow into the booth. Dalton, we have some questions about your, you want to call it an attempted pit stop?
Yeah, that was a complete and utter failure right there.
So is it just it snuck up on you, or what happened?
No, I saw the 78 wasn't pitting, and I made the decision to try to pit there way too late. Slammed on the brakes, and then it shot up into the wall and did all that. So definitely glad that yellow came out, because that brought me back up and, you know, gained back the 10 seconds I lost in the pits from being stupid. So
any major damage to the car?
No, I surprisingly I had no damage.
Well, that's good news. All right. Well, listen, we're double wides. We're about to go green, so I'll put you back up there. Good luck, and maybe we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, I'll try and drive through this field.
All right, good luck. That's Dalton Kilrow, and he, as he said, he's happy for the caution, but boy, I think the person most happy is that car on the outside, that pink and black attack from Jaden Hopp. He might get a good run here.
By the way, word from Paul Satmary to give some more explanation of that incident. He had right side damage apparently on that race car, which is what resulted mostly in the pedaling and why he couldn't save it. Green flag back in the air as we hop to it once again.
And we're already 2 wide, almost 3 wide for second place here. These guys cannot let Nickerson roll away with this again. You need to race him first, then race each other second. You'll see right there, Hops on the outside. I think I saw the 4 cars, Scott Shires on the inside. And you go in third and fourth right there. That's Thorpe and Williams. So let's see if they can keep Nick Nickerson in sight.
Oh, the 77 catches the outside wall, so he'll lose a bit of time, get a bit of right side damage on his entry. Critically, Nick has not been allowed to break away nearly as much as he was earlier on. 3 wide further behind as well. Brian D's being split by Lacey and Craig Martin, while John Osborne also side by side with Ricky Hart Jr. So double file in the midfield, single file up front as Jaden Hopp, the rookie, trying to run down the veteran.
By the way, it's worth mentioning that pink and, not pink, sorry, that green and blue machine right there in P6, sorry, that's Connor Gibson. That's one of our 3 drivers we were focused on for that playoff spot. There's Gibson in 6th. You'll see them further on back before you find Marasco in 17th. And Canfield's back in 20th, a lap down. So Connor Gibson right now is in the catbird seat.
Yeah, sure is.
Catbird.
Yeah, there you go. Jaden Hopp Hopping to the inside of Nick Nickerson and put that 78 car onto the lead. And Hop will lead the first laps of his High Tide Racing League career. The 78 car to the point of Kansas.
Well, it took 57 laps for someone to take that lead away, but it's the driver who's now up 12 spots this race in that 78 machine, doing a pretty great job here. So really showing off here at Kansas. He looks to be having a fun time. So now we'll see who, if he can walk away or who can chase him down. But there's John Osborne again. You see that. He's back to racing with Mazulik and Benjamin Lacey back there. Lacey also had some troubles early, so to see him back up here, he must have been happy with that caution after he had that incident on pit road.
Make a lead check right now in the midst of all of this as well, trying to see if he can't get something going. John Osborne looking for the inside. Dalton Kilrow, will he brave? 3 wide. It'd be a bold call, but it'd be a call that we have seen made time after time again in the past. Right on board with Sam Baumgarten right behind all of this in the front row seat to the party.
Yeah, doing a pretty great job. Look at this beautiful camera shot here. Another caution's out. This is our second yellow of the night. Well, there's a car in that. That's a car we've seen have trouble before tonight. Now up in the grass here.
Carter Phillips and critically, oh, well, there you go. Playoff competitor Jonathan Canfield was involved, and as we cut to him, his motor expired. Day over for Canfield, and that could very well end his title bid as well.
That's definitely going to knock him out of the playoffs. I don't see how he survives a 10-point disadvantage. He's going to finish down in the low 20s here. It's going to take Gibson and Marasco to have to finish really horribly tonight for him to hold on to that spot. Well, here we are again. Caution lap 60. Let's see what actually happens here. There's the car up top. This is one of our cars we're pretty sure is involved in this wreck. Gets loose, gets loose, gets loose. Oh, no.
Man.
Oh, nothing Canfield could have done right there, Nolan. Just a victim, a pure victim in that moment.
It's got to be rough for Jonathan Canfield, and that is it's a terrible way to end a championship as well. He did nothing wrong, and not a lot Carter Phillips could do either. He was trying to save it, but just wasn't happening. Slides into the infield, and Canfield is done and dusted. What a tough break.
Yeah, what a tough break indeed here. That is, I mean, from that view, the worst part of it, no one you can see is he had no idea, right? He had no idea that was coming. He had no idea that cars were going to come down. That's just how fast things happen in racing, unfortunately. So, boy, oh boy, I don't get it. Well, I want to do this if we can here. I'm going to do this live. I'm going to bring in Jonathan Canfield. Jonathan, you're live here in the booth on Green Flag TV, and we saw what happened and how it looked like you just had no camera, you know, no visibility, pardon me, of what happened to you. What's in your head right now?
Just heartbreak, man. And then after it all happened, I put her into third gear, and it sadly blew the engine. So we're gonna sit here and try to get it back out. Enough cars have luckily had some issues here tonight where I might be able to keep that 10-point buffer, but just dejected right now. For Ty and Connor, I'm happy for them if it does work out that they make it. But right now, just dejection is all I've got for it. And
I feel like
it's official. Too much damage. We're done.
I feel like when I saw it happen to you, what came back to mind was the conversation you and I had earlier pre-racing. You used the word unpleased. I'm sure there's a few other words besides unpleased, but I feel like that probably wraps up how you feel right now.
It certainly does. And you know, I talked to you before the race and mentioned, this is the first time I've really had a shot at playoffs. So it certainly stinks to have it end that way. Going to go out and support my teammates the rest of the season. Thor has done a great job this season. I hope he gets that regular season points championship. But just dejection is all I've got right now.
All right, well, unfortunately for the Sandusky native, it feels like the playoffs are out of reach. Jonathan, we'll put you back with your team, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the sponsors on the car, too.
All right, there's Jonathan Canfield. And unfortunately, Nolan, as he said, part of that new damage policy we have, the car's too damaged, there's no repairs to be done. He's done for the night.
You could hear in his voice as well just how torn up he was by that, and honestly, I don't blame him. He had the best chance out of the three of them to hang on entering this race, and he's the first one of them that finds himself on the outside looking in. That puts it between a heads-up battle now between between our good friend Connor Gibson and Ty Marasco.
Hey, of note here, by the way, some pit stops happened when we were having those interviews. There's some new leader here. Scott Shire's going to lead us around, and Hop pitted there and is now back in P17.
One car just left pit road. Carter Phillips gets back out onto the racetrack. Green flying back into the air as racing action commences once more at the Kansas Speedway, just shy of halfway.
Wow. Shire really got up there a little bit. I don't think on purpose. Got there a little close to Thorpe on the restart. Got a little hairy for a moment. There's Thorpe now stuck in the middle. And Ben Lacey wants to prove something to himself tonight. He wants to prove that he can have a comeback run as he got really to the bottom of that corner, but he wants to prove he can recover after that incident on pit road.
Benjamin Lacey scrambling to the inside, trying to pick off Sean Williams. Williams up high, fighting it out for the number 2 spot. Shire has not been able to break away thus far. Further down the field, 3 wide into turn number 1. Nickerson down low, Blinky in the middle, and Gibson up on top. Gibson clears, maybe not quite, loose in turn 2.
Yeah, for Gibson right now, I almost think he's probably not surprised. Told me he thought this was a great track for him. Said he, ironically enough, practice didn't go well. He said he felt more confident about his chances tonight before practice than after practice, but said he does go off the track. Hold on. Oh, no.
Well,
that's a big hit.
That might be 2 for 2 there on championship competitors, and he's not the only one involved. Sam Baumgarten also goes around. Bob Berry will escape down low. Big trouble for Connor Gibson, and that could be the break that Ty Marasco needed.
I called that playoff spot elusive earlier. I had no idea how elusive it may end up being. That you're right, within a matter of what, 5, 6, 7 laps. Watch this here. Looking at the racing really tight. There's Lakey on the bottom. There's Gibson in that Sprite machine, and Gibson just got massively loose. Nothing happened there. I mean, that car's wiggled around, and then he just got hooked. I mean, hooked may be the right word, because I mean he was in the way. That 53 did nothing wrong. That 53 only had one direction to go, and that was just in the back end of Connor Gibson.
Yep.
Watch it again here. Watch how wild it gets.
Heavy hit into the outside wall. Berry went all the way down. Ooh, careful. All the way down onto the grass to get around that. And just when you think it can't get worse, Connor Gibson is down. Not out, though. He would have about a 10-point deficit right now to Ty Marasco. So he is still very much in this championship fight. Depends on how much damage that car's got.
Yeah, we'll wait and see here. I mean, the good thing is it drove away. So unlike Jonathan Canfield, it looks like he'll be okay. You see him in the back of the shot there. He'll come down pit road and see what he can make of it. But everyone down pit road here, I mean, there's still probably one more stop after this. So we're not done, but anything you can do to cut off time on a green flag pit stop, you'll want to make it happen here. This is probably our penultimate pit stops.
Ty Marasco taking fuel only. He'll look to get himself onto the racetrack, but he will not be Craig Martin out. So Craig Martin gets out in front of him. Meanwhile, Connor Gibson, he is going to be taking an extended stay in pit road. And again, no surprises here. He's got a lot of damage to fix up. He wants to get as much of that repaired under yellow as possible. Because at this track, you don't know if you're going to get another.
No, no idea what could happen here. So there's Gibson still on pit road, so that's a long pit stop. So right now, Ty Marasco, you said gas only. He's going to come out here pretty high up the board. P9 to be exact right now.
All the way back in 9th place, tucked in between between Craig Martin and Sean Williams. So not a bad starting position at all for this Team MFRD number 1. Marasco's had such an up and down season so far. He is still somehow winless. He was looking for win number 1. The closest he came to it was at the Pocono Raceway when he went head-to-head with Austin Edstrom and ended up being caught by a fuel mileage race. ran out of gas in that one, and ever since, he has not been able to get as close as that. But he could, if not go for the win, he could get into the playoffs, and that's one thing that's critical. He has been in the playoffs every single season so far, trying to go 3 for 3.
Well, let's do this real quick here. Let's go do this real quick. I'm going to bring Ty Marasco in. Ty, welcome to the Green Flag TV booth. I'm going to ask you real quick, how big are the butterflies in your stomach right now?
Well, we just had to figure out the car. I guess we had some damage. I got hit before the beginning of the race, so I was running really slow, so I was actually really nervous for a hot minute. Now we're feeling pretty good, especially with Canfield being out, unfortunately, and Gibson being in that last one. So I think we're feeling pretty good. Let's keep our nose clean, and we'll finish and make it in. So, but earlier we were stressing a little bit based on how slow we were.
All right, well, good luck tonight. Hopefully put on a show for the broadcast, and hopefully your Twitch viewers have a good time as well. Good luck, and we'll put you back with your team.
All right, thank you.
All right, there it is. Ty Marasco, he says his confidence is boosting as the night goes on.
I don't blame him. His two main competitors, are out of the race. Green flag is back in the air. Shire up to the high side. Nickerson goes up the middle of him and Jaden Hoff to the middle lane as they enter turn 1. Shire on the back foot quickly here. Benjamin Lacey picks up the lead. Kilrow in second, and we are fanning them out 3 wide down the American Ethanol backstretch.
Look at this here. It's fanning out pretty wide here. Trying to keep in touch with that lead, but Ben Lacey's doing a great job. But all across the field here. Nice 2 wide racing. There's Ty Marasco. Bob the screen, we just talked to him. He's involved in a nice 2x2 battle here. And really P6, I mean, this is, I think, the best, Nolan, we've seen any of those 3 playoff bubble drivers run today. But, man, he's getting swallowed up in a 3-wide run. He's probably going to go from 6th. Well, that's not him. That's John Osborne, sorry. But he could go from 6th pretty far back if he gets stuck in that same sucker hole that John Osborne has found himself in.
Yeah, no kidding. He cannot afford that right now. But Marasco, he wants to move further up the field. Picks up the 7th place spot. Battling with Michael Thorpe Jr. for 6th. These 2 drivers came together at Martinsville Speedway a couple of times last week. In fact, Thorpe probably cost Marasco had a chance to win the race with a late race incident. Marasco expressed that displeasure after the race. He is now on probation as a result. Sam Bumgarner is down pit road, quite possibly with a penalty.
Yeah, take a look at that and see, but that's pretty questionable to be down pit road right now. Maybe it's once he gets the damage fixed, I don't know. But yeah, listen, Marasco showed some displeasure. Oh man, there's a car sliding. Marasco showed some displeasure after the race. Dalton Kilrow showed his displeasure. There's 2 cars in the grass. That's the 24, and I think that was Hart again. We saw in the grass. That's his 3rd incident of the night that we've seen here.
It was Phillips, actually.
Go to pit road. Yeah, that's Phillips. That's Carter Phillips. You're right. I apologize. But let's watch this first. I'll come back to a thought. Here's Carter Phillips up
what
front.
In the world? Oh, they didn't get together. That was completely isolated. It looks like...
Well, the backstory I know Carter Phillips had a black flag after the restart. I never got to confirm why. I'm assuming it was going to be for a pit exit merging violation. I never confirmed it, so it looked like he just kind of gave up. And then the 24 had separate issues.
Well, I wonder if maybe he was trying to come down to pit road and sat there and just didn't see it coming and got loose as a result.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Battle on. Sorry to cut you off. Battle on for the lead. Look at Lacey ripping the high line to get around the number 2.
Yeah, doing a great job here. And by the way, don't look now, but there's that pink and black machine again. So Hop is really going from, I guess you could say he's hopped his way up and down the field tonight, couldn't you? This maybe a skip and a jump away from the lead.
The puns are real with Jaden Hoff for the driver to Whitman, Arizona. Only his 2nd start. He's up 10 on the night with the catbird seat to watch this fight for the race lead kick off, and looking like Lacey has won that bout for now.
Oh, boy. So what, if Jaden didn't hit the wall there, he came within like an index card of doing it. That was darn close right there, what that was. But he's doing a great job trying to keep in here with 2 other dominant drivers. There's John Osborne. He's going to be side by side in the battle here. You see David Lakey's back there. You'll see Ty Marasco's back there. Michael Thornton is back there. Hold on to it, Ty.
Oh, that could have been a race ender, and he'll keep it underneath him, but a good showing there. So Marasco sliding back. One thing, by the way, that I want to point out, Connor Gibson is not out of the race. Oh, Marasco catches the wall. Linky gonna bounce down, but Gibson is on the racetrack, only one lap down. Right now, though, Canfield is still in the playoffs. He has a 10-point gap, and right now, Connor Gibson doesn't have enough to overtake him.
No, Marasco is hoping to finish well here, but he's falling down the field little by little. But you're right, Connor Gibson 1 lap down. He's the second car scored a lap down behind Larry Bell, so he needs a couple of yellow flags to put him maybe back in that lucky dog spot. But man, Marasco's having a hard time. Oh no, that's Marasco.
No. Heavy shot to the outside wall. No caution yet. Marasco into the infield. Hart into the infield. Both cars right fronts destroyed as they enter turn 1. That could be a night ender for Marasco, and that might kill his chances of playoffs if Gibson can take advantage.
This is one of the weirder battles we've seen in the playoff bubble because, man, Marasco just got loose there, and they really just caught that car having that red and black machine, pardon me, just really caught into him and just hooked him around. I was wondering who was going to be at fault. Well, obviously it was Marasco there. And so right now the 28 is limping around. That's Ricky Hart Jr. He said it's one of his first races back in that big red machine. That machine might say big red, but it's black and blue from the bruises the Ty Marasco put onto it.
Ty Marasco comes down pit road. He is going to try to hastily get that damage repaired. He knows he cannot let Gibson get more than a 5-point advantage on him this race. If he does, his playoff hopes could be dashed on the sidewalk right here at the Kansas Speedway. He is desperately trying to go on. This battle for the championship has turned into a fight of attrition.
Yeah, it really has, hasn't it? I think, by the way, the number we're looking for Connor Gibson, if he can get around here, is P14 currently, with the way that everyone else is finishing, with the way where Canfield sits out of the race and everything. I think P14 is the goal. We'll confirm points in a little bit, but I think at P14 he would at least have a shot at putting himself in. But let's go back to the front here. This is Ben Lacey up here with Jaden Hopp. Look how different lines they're running. Lacey up against the wall, Hopp against the bottom, and then Nick Nickerson is behind them, just kind of riding along, and looks like he also prefers the top lane as well. So you're Ben Lacey. Right now, this feels good. You know, Ben's talked in the past about maybe not having the best season, maybe not having all the runs he's wanted, and maybe not always performing as well as he's wanted. Well, this right here, this will boost the driver's confidence. Leading laps here at Kansas Speedway or any track in this league, and this is a highly competitive league here. That'll make you feel good.
Problem is, he's got a rookie of Jaden Hopp underneath him right now, trying to go for the lead as well. As you see Hopp making his way down in the round into turn numbers 3 and 4. He's going to throw it in deep here into 3 and 4. And Lacey, just about kisses the outside wall. Scott Shire, by the way, is into pit road.
That's early. This is not on schedule because we just pitted. Let's see, back on lap 67, I think, when Dustin Ping, Brian Dees, John Osborne, all of them came down. So that is not on schedule. What I'm saying by on schedule is that is not clear him the rest of the way. We're seeing 33 to 36 laps. That would be lap 117 at the most. So he is off schedule here.
Off of turn number 4, Hopp continuing to lead laps, and you got Lacey, you got Nickerson just in behind, and how about this? Mikulicek actually started to close in as well. That 77 car is on the move. Look at him going down in the turn numbers 1 and 2. That Camaro is on hot potatoes right now.
Yeah, that Camaro is riding beautiful. By the way, I thought it was worth noting, you and I have had some talks in the past about, you know, manufacturer discrepancy in this league and how we've been surprised by them. Well, guess what? A Toyota in Jaden Hopp is leading this race. You and I have talked about the lack of Toyotas in this league and how we've been surprised that it's not maybe more even. Well, good news for Toyota. They are leading with Jaden Hopp.
And critically, the lone Toyota in the field as well. He is the only one that has gone with Toyota representation. And that Supra looks darn good out in front. So I'm sure Hopp is grinning ear to ear right now. Ryan Dees and Dustin Ping, they're getting set to battle that out for 5th and 6th. Kind of coming back to the playoff battle that you were referencing earlier, it is 1 point per position. when it comes to racing action this afternoon. So, yeah, he would have to make up about 5-6 points if he wants to guarantee beat Marasco. Right now, he is only up by 1, and it is impossible for Gibson to get 5 unless, A, Marasco goes down by more laps, or B, he gets onto the lead lap again.
Or more cars go a lap down would be the C option, right? We have if we had another big wreck or something, we could have that happen. But if you're Connor Gibson, your first goal has to be to put yourself back in the lucky dog spot. As I said, last I looked, Larry Bell and I believe Scott Shire are both ahead of Connor Gibson, pardon me. So he needs to get that working and get that moving along. Well, here we are working lap 86 of 135. This race is going on pretty fast. Only here we are, only about 52 minutes into this race. We've completed 86 laps. So this track really does move fast. We've had some pretty good green flag runs. We had that little bit in the middle with a couple back-to-back cautions. But overall, these leagues should be very thrilled about the show they're putting on.
Benjamin Lacey dropping all the way back to 4th now and out of that battle for the lead. So the Real Earth Films Ford Mustang might be dropping that back. Could be trying to set himself up for pit stops. Lacey did not pit with a lot of the other drivers on the lap 60/66 cautions. He last pitted on 51. So he's about 15 laps off cycle for most other drivers in this field. He's about right on cue to hit pit road any lap now.
Yeah, so we'll wait and see when that does happen. And it's going to be, I said again, off cycles, it cannot go to the end. I don't see a way you get to the end on gas if you come down right now. So here's Dustin Ping. He's had an up and down night. Remember, he had a black flag early in the race for speeding. He's had some different moments. He's with Brian Dees right now on track. This is the battle here for 5th and 6th. And right now, they may be having a battle, but they're probably, Nolan, 5, 6, 7 seconds off the lead. So while they may be P5, to them, it doesn't feel that way probably.
Yeah, sure. I know, right? I mean, it's a bit wild at this point how much this field has been able to break themselves apart when we go green, but they still put together a lot of phenomenal runs and a lot of thrilling racing when you're in a situation like this. The field gets spread out, and I think it's because you're more racing the track around you just as much as you're racing the drivers around you. You saw Pink get a bit sideways there, coming off of turn 2, and Dees thought about it. He went for a look, decided better for it, though. So Brian Dees is going to stay in line. Dustin Pink is going to make himself up, and there is a very wounded Ty Marasco struggling to get whatever spots he can muster.
Yeah, by the way, I can tell you, just watching separately on Ty Marasco, when he is driving quote-unquote straight, that wheel is pointed to about 2 or 3 o'clock. So he is not having a good night. Look at that there. I mean, that's how where that wheel is pointed. So that's an indication there's something wrong with that car. Not that we needed any proof of that, but yeah.
For reference here, just seen Dalton Kilroe's wheel as well coming down the straightaway. So yeah, Marasco right now is in an extremely bad way. He is just barely limping that car around. This is a survival gamble for Marasco. He knows he could not afford to stay in pit road and fix more of that damage, but he's not helping himself by driving it in so deep into these corners as you see him get the fence again entering turn 1. That only piles on the damages. Sooner or later, Iris is going to black flag him for that if he keeps doing it.
Yeah, eventually that will happen. So if you're Ty Marasco right now, you are probably begging for someone to bring a yellow out so you can get down pit road, you can get some of this damage fixed, and you can find some more speed or some better handling in that car. But kudos to him for holding on to that car. Right? That is harder to do than he's making it look, I guarantee you. And not only physically, but also mentally, man. When you get a car that's beat up and you get a car that's not riding correctly or riding right, if you will, it's hard to be motivated to get out here and turn more laps. It's hard to not just let it go and hit a wall and do something stupid because you're mad at yourself, but it's probably not to. So here's Connor Gibson now. They're all going to pass on by Connor Gibson.
Dees and Osborne are also in the fray. David Lakey is just barely clinging on to the tail end of this battle pack. And I think finally Ty Marasco is being forced into pit road to get that damage repaired or else. The soul-saving grace right now, there's only one other car behind him on the racetrack. That's Bob Berry, who still has to lap him twice if he wants to get around him. And that would still be enough points that he would be able to get into the playoffs. And Connor Gibson would not have enough to make it in.
By the way, Kurt, great call by you. He was eventually black flagged by iRacing. for damage that needs to be repaired. So great call and prophesizing by you when it comes to Marasco. So we'll see how long he sits on pit road and how much time he gives up here. But yeah, he had to come down pit road and fix some of those tire problems.
And sure enough, just a few laps later, Benjamin Lacey will make his way down to the pit road to get his next stop underway. 40 laps away from the end. That's not enough to go the distance.
No, I was trying to do the math in my head, and you're right, that's not enough. He's going to need a little bit of help with a caution or two and something to happen, or he's going to have a splash and gas to go, or splash and go at the end here. Now, right now, as you look at the top, Jaden Hopp, lap 62. Nick Nickerson, lap 61. Dustin Ping, lap 67. So if you take Hopp at 62, you add 37, that puts him at 99. So he's about 3 laps away from pitting if all stays where it is. And that would put him right on the verge of making this here. The person in the best spot would be Dustin Ping in P4, Brian Dees in P5, and John Osborne. And that group, David Lakey, they all pit on lap 67. They are the safest ones when it comes to fuel mileage.
So Dees and Ping will keep circling around while we are waiting for the next run of pit stops to come on up for the main runners. Here's what's coming up on Green Flag TV. It's the final trip back to the Sunshine State for a while, hopefully, as the Ole Miss World Cup Series will swing down to Homestead Miami Speedway for their second round of competition. It's the week of round 2s because it's the Bear League. They're swinging out to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio. And then the SRA IEL Truck Series is going to be back at for the Hampton, Georgia 200. No! Dustin Ping turned into turn number... Turned into turn 3, sliding around, collects Dees, collects Lakey, into the outside wall, and that's a lucky break. Shire just escapes down low.
That's a lucky break for about everyone except for Dustin Ping. Wow, look at you. And credit to Ping right now. He's frustrated, he's mad, wants to get moving, but great job sitting still and letting his competitors get around. Don't make this worse. So he'll get moving now. We'll wait and come back and see what happened to Dustin Ping. But for everyone involved, this is a break. This is the break they likely needed. Allows them to go slower, save some gas, and get here under caution. Watch this here. There's a 17 in the bottom, Ping, and the 81 up top. And I don't know from that angle who came down and who went up. Watch this here, Ping. Ooh. And that's not him right there. That's just the way the car moves. That's the momentum. That's the speed. Just climbs that hill. Nothing he could have done about it in that moment. He could have lifted and still drove up that hill.
We'll take a few more looks at that in just a moment, but for now, several cars, in fact, pretty much the whole field down to pit road, and why not? This will be the final pit stop of the night. Any questions now about fuel are out the window unless we go to overtime. It's a straight shot from here to the end.
Yep, it's definitely a straight shot. By the way, Larry Bell is the first car lap down, should be the lucky dog, so that'll put Connor Gibson in that catbird seat. And boy, if Connor Gibson gets that spot, he has got nothing but I guess a yellow brick road ahead of him, if you will, because that's just free ability to pass a couple cars and lock in that playoff spot. But here's the battle off of pit road. You see Dalton Kilrow in front of you, Michael Thorpe's coming out there. Lots and lots of drivers. So Lakey with a big stop, Ping with a big stop, Brian D still getting damage fixed. No surprise, the 3 drivers involved in the last caution with the longest stops for damage repair. Let's watch this again here. I
still can't really tell.
Ping, I think from the angle, I think Ping came down. I mean, 17 was almost to the bottom of the track anyways. Like, I don't know where else he thought the 17 was going to go. Here's a better view.
Yeah, I'll back this up. This is on board with Dustin Ping, or with Brian D, sorry.
There's the Hulk looking on from the right. Is he going to get Hulk smashed?
I don't know. I'm looking at that seam on the racetrack. I didn't see Ping really come down at all there.
Yeah, that's pretty close. That's going to require race control to look at that and determine who's at fault, because that's just darn close. There's no obvious answer from a couple views there. Unfortunately, Dustin Ping had an unfortunate meeting with the Incredible Hulk on the right side of the car. Watch this from this angle. Watch the steering wheel. This will tell you a little bit here. No, it's not. That's not him. Sorry. That's a nice avoidance, though. That is beautiful by Scott Shire. Yeah.
And just barely cut down low, and I'm trying to find an overhead if we can get one. Okay, there we go. That'll work. We'll back that up a little bit here. This is you're not going to get much better than this, frankly.
Now watch it here. I mean, they're both right here.
Yeah,
17 comes up. Yeah, 17 comes up just barely. I mean, a matter of inches, a matter of feet probably. And then everyone's just sort of along for the ride. Well, all right. Well, here we go. Some more laps off the board. By the way, Ty Marasco still on pit road, getting damage as fixes. We're too wide, about to go green.
Who would have thought we're going to have this dramatic of a playoff battle when two of them aren't on the racetrack?
Yeah, so right now, if Connor Gibson is the one hoping for the next yellow, but we'll wait and see what happens. We go green again. Nickerson off and gets a good jump here. So right now it is Nickerson, Hop, and others leading us around.
Solid jump from the 2 with 35 laps to go. Nikolichek picks up second. Hop picks up third. Osborne slots in a fourth. Side by side between Thorpe and Kilroe for fifth. Oh, heads up. Osborne sliding up the track. Something fierce. Craig Martin into the wall. Martin gets turned to the background. Slides into the infield grass. Trying to get it sorted. Benjamin Lacey gets back onto the racetrack. No problems. Oh, and now Thorpe's around. Thorpe's been put into the wall.
Wow. Thorpe in the wall. Back to back, nose to nose with John Osborne. We'll wait and see. Osborne not happy about the moment.
He's
Osborne
done
yelling,
too.
"You were not clear." So
Look at the
that's
smoke.
our first indication. What is Thorpe doing? You got to quit backing that up. You can't do that. But I mean, that engine's blown, but you're going to end up getting DQ'd here and finishing last. Don't do that, my dude.
I don't think you get DQ just for driving backwards, do you? Well, I mean,
you can. Well, maybe it's. I think in this case he's technically going forward, which is sort of a weird thing to say, right? He's going backwards forwards. If he was going backwards,
then there's a
that'd be
problem.
trouble. Figure that out at home, by the way. Backwards, and backwards forwards. I'll let you guys do that at home. Just get the pencil and paper out and draw it out. But let's watch what happened here. So Osborne said he wasn't clear. There's Osborne up top. There's Thorpe on the bottom. Comes down here through the tri-oval, the dog leg, if you will. And Thorpe apparently is going to come up from what Osborne said. There's Hop coming up.
Yep, I
don't know.
Disagree. It's a hard hit into the wall too.
That's a hard hit. That I'll agree with you on. That's going to be a hard hit here. That's going to put Thorpe with some required repairs and out of the race at least for a while, if not for good. I didn't see that one more time. I'm not sure. Like, I mean, Thorpe has to come up a little bit. That's the way that lane moves. But man, we need that overhead shot again. That'll help determine everything because that's a meeting of the minds, and it so happens so fast and so quickly. Let's see if we can get a better shot of it here.
This will be from the facing the back, so we'll be looking forward at them from straight on, just about.
No, I'm sorry. I think Osborne moves. I think Osborne comes to the left, and he hooks the back of Thorpe, and in the wall they go. I mean, Osborne's not wrong. Thorpe does come up, but that's how that line of that racetrack's going to work. You can't hold that bottom lane. You have to merge up a little bit. But then Osborne also went to the left, and they just came together.
I don't know. I mean, at the same time, Osborne's got to turn in for the corner eventually. He can't just put it against the wall.
I mean, listen, I'll reference something, from last week. This isn't intentional. This isn't, blatant. This isn't, watch this here. This will be a good shot of it. This isn't, egregious, I don't think.
I don't think he moves left. I think he just stops going right. Like, he definitely was lower on the track than everybody around him was. But I don't think he, turns left. I think he's just not tracking out as much, which, credit to Osborne, he's been consistent with that all night.
Yeah, that's true. I'll give you that. We talked about it earlier that he wasn't tracking out far. Well, this will bring all doubt for the leaders, by the way. Done. Any doubts you had about, did I need to save a lap or two of gas to make it to the end? Done. Right? This caution should take care of that. So anyone up top here, and I'd say in the top 5 who just pitted, well, plus some, should count themselves good here. So, all right. Well, Connor Gibson, by the way, could have been. He's 2 laps down. How did Gibson end up 2 laps down?
He's in pit road.
He is indeed.
He's been in pit road for a while. I think he came down to try to get some damage repairs. Interesting.
I was going to say I thought Connor Gibson would have been the lucky dog. At one point, he was a lap down and was next in line after Larry Bell.
He pitted the lap he was going to get the lucky dog on. That's why.
Oh, no.
He probably didn't know.
Oh, boy.
He hasn't been the lucky dog all night. Although, nope, you're right. Nope, still a lap down.
Still 2 laps down, in fact, according to timing and scoring. So I don't know how he ended the second lap down. What to maybe see if I can get some word on that after we go green here. But here we go. New leader, by the way. The first, well, not first time night for him, but first time for him to lead this as a new leader.
Green flag is out. And Nick Nickerson with a great jump off the top shelf. He's going to get the drive down to turn number 1. So side by side, the 77 slides across the nose of the 41 of Kilrow. As Hop going to drop a bit further back. They are going to go double file behind between Wellman and Williams. And a solid drive all around.
Yeah, solid drive happening indeed here. So, man, look at everyone now using the apron. Got new tires. The car feels a little bit more stable. You can get down there and get that little extra speed from the apron. Here's Hop here now up in P3, P4 right there with Kilrow. Man, what a surprise to see Dalton Kilrow. You're not a knock on his talent, but remember, Dalton Kilrow, I almost said kissed the wall earlier, but that would be an understatement. He really had a fling with the wall, basically, with how hard he hit it. I mean, that was intense how hard he hit that wall when he missed pit road earlier.
Look at how much these guys are going 3 wide down the field. Craig Martin, Dustin Ping, Scott Shire all in the mix here. Ryan Marasco back out onto the racetrack. He is not out yet. 13 laps down, but he is trying to see if he can't get any more spots. He could get 2 from Thorpe and Osborne, and that could be just enough to secure him a playoff spot.
And technically, he could get more, right? We're not within 13 laps to the end of the race. If any more big wrecks happen, who knows what he still gains out of
like
this, right?
here!
That's what you got here. My goodness, guys, look at this. Cars everywhere. And a little bit from David Lakey and that blinky internet connection. And then there's the 42 slow on the track, but I think we've all got it gathered back together, and we're going to stay green.
Kyle Wellman, though, with a huge loose moment coming around through turn 4. Was this with help or self-inflicted? Williams might have taken the air off of him, but overall, that's self-inflicted.
That's very self-inflicted. Beautiful save, though, all things considered. We've seen a couple saves not go well. We got that car wiggled. In fact, the back end really flipped around twice on him, and he got it gathered together. Maybe helped the wall a little bit to use the wall to help him, but safe race car. We're going to stay green here. And you see Ben Lacey now racing on the bottom of this racetrack right here. I think that's going to be Williams right behind him. It is in the 89.
Sean Williams trying to chase after Benjamin Lacey. We are coming to 25 laps to go, this time by. So Lacey will hang on from Williams in the battle for 5th. Dees and Foster looking like they might want to try to go at it for 8th, while they are side by side between Shire and Bell for 12th. And overall, the battle for the race lead, not more than a third of a second.
No, not much more. Remember earlier in this race, before our first yell tonight back on lap 50, Nick Nickerson had over a 5-second lead. He's never going to get back to that. I think Jaden Hop has kept him really honest. I mean, Hop got up there to P2 before that first yellow, but had to give up 12 or 11 spots to get there, so wasn't able to really keep on the back end of leader. But now he is, and now he's keeping him honest and trying to keep that lead very marginal. We saw Jaden Hop make the pass earlier, so now Hop probably has the confidence in knowing, hey, I did it before. There's no reason I can't go do it again.
So while this race continues on, Blakey's still struggling with some of that connection difficulties, but let's, I guess, kind of recap what the playoffs are going to look like here. There are 3 rounds. We start with round of 12, then 8, then 4. The first 3 races take place Fontana, upstate New York, and in Georgia with Auto Club the Glen and Atlanta Motor Speedway. The next 3, we swing first to New Hampshire Motor Speedway on February 10th. The final super speedway race of the season at Talladega. followed by a trip at the Phoenix Raceway, and they will close things out for the championship finale at Homestead Miami Speedway with the longest race of the season at 150 laps around the 2.5-mile speedway. It's going to be, or the 1.5-mile speedway, sorry. It's going to be a wild showing for these last 3 races.
And again, look at that. Before you get to all those races, think about that diversity in that schedule again. You know, New Hampshire, Talladega, like Phoenix. Again, 3 very different tracks in that round where, you know, someone's going to have to really be, you know, I think average of all 3 is the best strategy, right? It just showing off that you have a short track, a super speedway, you know, and I guess people call Phoenix a short track. I hate calling it that, as I don't think it is. It's almost more of a cookie cutter than a short track with the right races, but so much can happen at any of those tracks. I love this playoff schedule because of how diverse it is. It's really going to prove us who is the best driver up and down the field.
I didn't even know that Phoenix Raceway was considered a short track. That place is over a mile, isn't it? Like, it's about a mile long?
It's about a mile long, but I mean, you know, it has some very, you know, short straights, and, you know, I mean, I think it's current configuration where you can cut the dog leg and make something of it. Some people consider it to be I don't know if it's a short track, but it's definitely shorter. You know, it's a very interesting configuration in how it races. But well, here's a 17 on screen. Remember, he had that incident earlier, Brian Dees did, and was part of a caution, but that car is still moving along okay. But look at this, that gap is closing little by little as Jaden Hopp is trying to get up here and secure his first win with 19 to go.
Hopp has run a very, very clean race all night long. He has been having an absolute time of it so far and not expecting it to be any different here this afternoon. I can tell you right now, I think Jaden Hopp, he is going to be loving this here, and I do not blame him in the slightest. You're right on board with him for a few laps here. Jaden Hopp, in his last race that he had in this league, started 13th. He did get up to the podium spots in Martinsville. Unfortunately, finished all the way back in 16th. It was a real from the penthouse to the outhouse. Now, though, he's straight to the penthouse because he is through, and Nickerson has got big problems.
Nickerson's got huge problems. That was a big gap he just gave up there. I mean, that's now going to be 2, 3, 4 seconds maybe he's going to give up.
He's pitting.
Yes.
No, surely not. How would you be out of gas?
There, I don't know, but I mean, I agree with you. But the way that car slowed down very suddenly, that's the only thing I can figure out.
This is
watch
what
again.
happened.
Watch the battle here. This is becoming out of the corner.
Oh, loose hard into the wall. Don't tell me that gave him a meatball flag.
It doesn't. There's no meatball flag there. I don't know if this is maybe that busted his confidence, or maybe I don't know, but there's no required repairs in that car. I can tell you that right now. I'm watching up and down the official board. I don't get it. I don't know what happened there, but you're right. For right now, it's put a new leader out by over 2 seconds, and it is Jaden Hopp. By the way, of note right now, here's the thing about Nick Nickerson pitting. I don't know how bad it is. Look on your leaderboard. Connor Gibson, 3 laps down, P15. If this is a bad repair for Nick Nickerson under green, this could put Gibson in P14, 3 laps down.
And that could be just enough to put him ahead of Canfield in the points.
Yep. Right now, that's where we stand. So I'm going to try to keep an eye separately on this pit road incident and see how long he's sitting there. But it's quickly coming around that may be where we stand.
Well, right now, Gibson is less than a lap away.
Sorry, didn't cut off. Nick Nickerson has disconnected. He is done. He is going to fall laps down. This is going to put Connor Gibson in P14.
So Gibson to 14th. That puts him now tie on the points with Jonathan Canfield. Now, I would need to consult the rule book. I'm not sure if they do it via countback or if they do these points if there's a tie via just last race results.
But right now, if you're Connor Gibson, now you have hope, because now, and I'm not a driver who believes in voting for wrecks or hoping for wrecks, or I think there's karma involved in that, believe it or not. But if you're Gibson, you're begging for just one more wreck, right? One more person to have an internet problem, one more person to anything right now. and you're good. You don't need to worry about a tiebreaker. That's how close Gibson is, because he right there has just passed up there on Nickerson. He is now P14.
So, looking through the rulebook right now, I am not seeing any ruling as to whether it's just off of last race results or if this is heads up. One car slides, not sure who it was.
The green and white machine, I saw that in the back of that camera shop. You're right, I don't know who it was.
Not
but they got
Hayden
it
Wheeler.
saved.
Well, potentially a mystery, but, well, like I said, they got it saved, didn't go into the grass, so...
By the way, you're not the only person who's curious about the rules, because Connor Gibson just asked in iRacing Chatter, hey, admins, can someone tell me what the tiebreaker is?
Oh, well, perfect. If they tell them in there, then we'll know right away.
Yeah, right? So it's
yeah, because the rulebook does not specify. Yeah, it doesn't specify anything, so...
Admins just said, we'll talk about it post-race. Let's race it out first, so...
Oh, boy.
They'd rather see what happened. That probably just means, hey, listen, the admins are racing, right?
You're not wrong.
And Ben, right there has been Lacey. That's the driver who answered and said, hey, let's race it out. We'll talk afterwards. It's hard to admin and race and have a conversation. You and I talked about how hard that can be recently. So, all right, well, here we are, 10 to go. Time is quickly ticking down in this race, quickly ticking down on Connor Gibson, quickly ticking down. I think there's no one more nervous as a spectator than Jonathan Canfield.
Right? I mean, Canfield is going to be on the edge of his seat with this. This could be the make or break for that championship decider. Now I think it's time for us to consult the stat sheet between these two drivers, right? I mean, we don't do that often when it comes to this sort of thing, but by countback, if it goes off of top 5s or top 10s, I think Gibson still gets it regardless. He's got more top 5s. He's got more top 10s. I think Gibson, no matter what way you try to stretch it, whether it's based off of race results or by stats, Gibson takes that spot.
Yeah, Gibson, I think, probably takes the spot. But who knows? We'll wait and see what the rulebook says and what the official ruling is here before we get onto that. But right now, Jaden Hopp, speaking of stats, speaking of rulebook, speaking of record books, Jaden Hopp is looking to stamp his name into the list of winners in the High Tide Racing League right now by over 2.25 seconds is the lead he has here over Dalton Kilroy.
Look out! Well, Miguelicek into the infield grass, entering turn 1. He's going to bring it to a stop. And he is going to retire, so that'll do it. That makes it official. Connor Gibson is going to get himself into 13th. That is enough to get him on points alone.
Boy, I'll be honest with you, if you're Jonathan Canfield, that stinks. That a driver right there just parked it right there. I mean, watch what's going to happen to him here.
What happened there?
He's got it loose. Maybe he got mad. Oh, there's a bumpy ride. Got it saved.
That car just got loose out of nowhere.
I mean, that's going to happen. We're at the end of a run. We're less gas in the cars. You know, the tires are worn out. We've been pushing hard. But if you're Jonathan Canfield, that's the kind of stuff that really just kind of just gets you a little bit, right? Just gets your goat, because unless something happened there we can't see, that's just a driver quitting out of frustration. If that's what cost Jonathan Canfield his spot in the playoffs, that's going to suck.
Now, the one thing that could still disrupt this is the fact that Connor Gibson has got Sam Baumgarten running him down right now. And that gap is closing by a huge margin as well. So there is definitely still a chance here that Connor Gibson loses out on, I don't know. I think it's going his way no matter what. But Baumgarten could still make this a tie for position. He's only 3 seconds back, and right now he is lapping 1.5 seconds quicker than Gibson.
And he's got the draft from Lacey to help him out. He's probably got more confidence in the car. Remember, Gibson was hurt earlier, so... Yeah, undamaged, right? So we'll wait and see how this plays out here with 5 to go. So now Gibson has to be mirror driving. He has to almost, in a weird way, this is a hard thing to hope. Do you hope a caution comes out and you kind of don't have to deal with that speed? You know, but if it does, then, you know, he could get a good jump on you, right? So there's this weird what if then. There's Ty Marasco, by the way, in that one car. He's back out finally and getting some laps turned. Marasco currently P19 on the board.
So all of this is continuing to cause drivers to slip further and further
Don't
back.
look now, but that battle's about to happen.
There it is. Oh, contact with Lacey. Baumgarten's through. Makes quick work of Gibson. And that will send Gibson back down to 14th. So is that enough for the tie? I don't even know. I think we're just going to have to wait for the post-race results to be uploaded so we can make that official call.
Yeah, we'll wait and see what may happen here and how it's going to play out. But right, I mean, I feel bad because right now I think Jaden Hopp is having the race of his high tide career, which isn't that long. And unfortunately, it's kind of getting swallowed up by the story of the playoff bubble when he is up here almost 2.5 seconds or more than 2.5 seconds in the lead here. That pink and black machine is just attacking. He's having a great run. And unfortunately for him, this is just one of those storylines where we're focused on so many spots that it's hard to give attention to that machine. Right there, there's Kilwell in second, Dees in third, Williams and Lakey back there for your top 5. But there's Connor Gibson up top. Now the good news for Gibson is he can't get past again, right? Because Bob Berry is 2 laps down. So short of something weird happening here with only 2 to go, that spot is safe.
Final lap will come out this time by races official Benjamin Lacey sideways with Lakey in the battle for 5th. Lakey will pull that one out and around the long way. But Jaden Hopp had a bad run at Martinsville for his debut. Now he works the American Ethanol backstretch. He has taken out the driver that won the last race at Kansas. He's going to beat the regular series champion, Jaden Hopp, off turn number 4. First win of his High Tide Racing League career.
Well, congrats to Jaden Hopp. Congrats. I'm pretty sure Ty Marasco will probably make the playoffs, although we're not sure. So if he does, congrats to him. Congrats to this league on having a great run tonight. Overall, a couple cautions, but maybe a couple questionable things at the end we might want to look at. But overall, a pretty amazing race at Kansas here, lasting, I mean, just about an hour and 9 minutes officially to turn 135 laps. That's a good run.
Jaden Hopp will take the dub in the regular series finale. So this is going to be a bit of a wild scene now as to how this is going to pan out. And we'll definitely have to wait for the points to get sorted, but we'll talk about that later. For now, let's put the spotlight on Jaden Hopp. He is going to burn it down to the infield, and rightfully so. The driver to Whitman, Arizona, takes home win number 1 of his High Tide Racing League career, and he did so in a convincing fashion. He played this field to perfection this afternoon.
Yeah, I remember those first 50 laps, he went from 12th to 2nd, and then multiple times went up there and took the lead from Nick Nickerson and just drove away here. So some small moments, including pit stops, putting back in the field, but this really was a dominant run for Jaden Hopp.
What a wild, wild ride. And of course, with a long way to go yet before this season, tell you what, we're going to take, how about this? Let's take a step back. Let's let ourselves reset. Let's see if the series administrators can get those points uploaded. We'll be back with the post-race show in just a moment.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Kansas Speedway. After a wild race, a dramatic race, it's time to see who is where, and we still don't have confirmation on the championship. We'll let you know as soon as we do. For now, here are your post-race results. Jaden Hopp takes the W ahead of Dalton Kilroe. Brian Dees finishes in third with Sean Williams in fourth. David Lakey is in fifth with Benjamin Lacey in sixth. Then it is Kyle Wellman, Kevin Foster, Craig Martin, and Larry Bell for the top 10.
Moving back into P11 at number 4, Machine of Scott Shire, best Dustin Ping. Dustin is the first car a lap down. Then you got Samuel Bumgarden. He was 4 laps down at P13. Connor Gibson and that elusive P14 we focused on. Bob Berry 6 laps down, went in with Paul Milsebek back there in P16. And then it's John Osborne, Ty Marasco, Nick Nickerson all the way back there in P19, 17 laps down, and Michael Thorpe Jr. in P20.
From there, it is going to be Ricky Hart Jr. 21st with Carter Phillips 22nd, Paul Satmary, Jonathan Canfield, Michael Ashmore, Hayden Wheeler, Tanner Marr, and Robert Lukens close out the field. We have the confirmation on the one driver that is in. Ty Marasco has been confirmed in by 1 point. It was a tie between Canfield and Gibson for the last place spot. And it is going to go on countback. Gibson is in. Canfield is out. The official call made as of literally 2 seconds ago. Neither driver got a race win. It goes to a top 5. And, well, Gibson had 1 top 5. Canfield does not. So Connor Gibson is in. Canfield is out. He is going to be seething over that, I imagine. Let's take a rundown now. And, well, we'll talk to all the drivers that come home at the end of the night. What a wild ride, though, for so many involved. And we'll talk first and foremost with a very well-deserving race winner, Jaden Hopp, who comes into the broadcast booth. And, well, Jaden, this is only your second start. It is the outhouse to the penthouse as you mop the field this afternoon. Talk us what got you through to your maiden win.
Oh, hey, what's up? I don't know, just trying to keep the speed, not turn the right rear tire into a fireball. But, yeah, pretty much just did that the whole race. I was kind of scared we were going to get a yellow at the end, but we made it.
Overall, it was a great drive for you. Kind of talk us through how things went tonight. I mean, you mentioned you had to really fight your way through, but it's got to feel good coming home to take a win after a race like Martinsville.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so much better than Martinsville, honestly. It was so much fun racing everybody there at the front, like Kilroe, Thorpe, Nick and Paul, and everyone else that I'm forgetting to remember in this moment.
Well, I mean, now I think plans are looking long-term. Do you plan on getting more wins before the season is out? And are you going to be making a splash in Season 4?
I think it's probably likely, yeah. Probably just finish off the season. Wish I could make a playoff run, but wasn't there for the first bit of the season. But we'll just keep on trucking with these races and see how it all plays out.
Sounds like a plan. Well, thank you, Jaden, for taking the time to give us a chit-chat this afternoon. A wild race and a phenomenal race put on from you this afternoon. Congratulations on taking your maiden win, and we'll look to see you hopefully more in the coming weeks.
I'll be looking forward to it. Thank you.
Jaden Hopp comes home #1 with his maiden win this afternoon, and Derek, you'll be bringing it on up with our second-place finisher, Dalton Kilroe.
Well, Dalton, it's our second time talking tonight, and obviously at the end of the race, your focus has to turn to the admin duties. But during the race, man, what an up and down. We talked to you after that, accident where you missed pit road, and then somehow you brought it back to P2.
Yeah, was a good recovery drive. Definitely got saved by that one yellow flag there. Was just able to kind of maintain some decent pace and keep the car underneath me. And got lucky with some other drivers either not saving their stuff as well or making some mistakes, getting involved in stuff they probably shouldn't have, and was just able to, again, just keep the tires underneath me and make it to the finish.
So towards the end of the race, when I think both Gibson, and Canfield realized there's a likelihood of a tie, I heard Gibson already asking, hey, what do we do? What's a tiebreaker? How does it work? How do you as a driver keep your head in the game obviously as an admin, you want to help these guys. That's part of what you're here for and what you've signed up for and what you do pretty well. But how do you get driver Dalton Kilrow and admin Dalton Kilrow not in the same headspace?
So what I like to do is, yes, I'll focus slightly on what's being said over race comms. Normally we have race control that'll be dealing with that. But I know what I try to do is if somebody's asking like a question, if somebody else mics up and goes to answer them, then I'll just kind of stay in my rhythm and just try to zone it out as much as I really can. But if nobody else is really wanting to answer, I'll just pipe up real quick and be like, hey, here's what I think initially, but can't really focus on it too much right now just because obviously in the car. Most of the time that's good enough for the person that I am talking to at that exact moment. So, plus also as you guys are well aware, I talk a lot, so I don't really have an issue talking while racing. So I can just kind of flip that switch very quickly and just stay focused as much as I can.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever noticed you talk a lot. I think that's kind of a surprise to anyone who's heard you in the booth, right? So my last question, obviously you're going to come into the playoffs, sort of very not in a dramatic way, very obviously you're going to come in here at the top in points. And now we come into Auto Club, the Glen, and Atlanta as the 3 races for the round of playoffs we're heading into. Of those 3, where is Dalton Kilrow most likely to win?
Oh, it's a coin flip between Auto Club and Atlanta. I love both of those places. I feel like Atlanta over Auto Club. Watkins Glen is just going to be a keep it on the tarmac kind of track. Should be able to get a top 5 out of there, depending on how many ringers show up. I know Nick's going to be quick. Aaron Smith's going to be quick if he shows up. So we'll have to see what all transpires when we get there. But I feel like Atlanta is probably my best shot out of the 3.
All right. Well, listen. Well, congrats on heading into it first and seeding. Congrats on the P2 tonight, and we'll see you next week.
10-4, man. Thank you.
You're very welcome. That's Dalton Kilrow, driver of the 41 machine, the Florida native. Pretty solid night overall. Nolan's going to come into, as I said, P1 in the playoffs, finishes P2 tonight, and a pretty amazing run. Well, I'm going to come back to what you said a second ago, and I want to be the contrarian of the group for a second. You mentioned this tiebreaker with Canfield and Gibson. If you're Canfield, yeah, maybe you have some concerns because maybe there's some drivers who quit out earlier, so wrecked, and maybe in some ways that you don't think, whatever you think of it. But listen, you're not. This is like being like a MMA fighter or a UFC fighter who left the fight to the judges. If you're not happy with the result, you've had all the races in the schedule to go out there and win a race or score more points or have a better result. When you leave the fight up to the judges, that you have to take what comes to you.
Sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles, and that's something that that's something that Canfield is no doubt going to be thinking of a lot. One driver that doesn't have to think about it, at least not for a couple weeks, is Brian Dees, the 3rd place finisher. We'll get a chit chat with Brian Dees now, the teammate for Dalton Kilrow. Brian, it was a solid night as well for you. You make up 7 spots at the end of things. You're able to come home with a very solid outing for that MFRD number 17. Talk us through the race this afternoon and what finds you now on the podium.
First things first, did you see that message? Did you dig out the counter for me?
I did.
Did you? Oh, nice. Let's go. So, yeah, at the beginning of this race, I had no speed whatsoever. I absolutely did not think a 3rd was even a remote possibility. So, I'm pretty much just as surprised as I think a lot of people probably are.
Overall, the race in Kansas, it's always something that's unique. It's something that no other mile and a half can even come close to putting up this afternoon. What's your thoughts on this race having been moved to a very championship critical race like this one as opposed to just another regular race like we had any other week in seasons past?
I like it because I think Kansas is a great track. It's one of my favorite tracks, so I've had a lot of success here in the past. Like I said, tonight I just didn't have the speed until the end. But shout out to a couple of my teammates and guys who were racing with me in chat too. They were kind of giving me a little bit of coaching, so that definitely helped towards the end. I think the cautions kind of fell my way a little bit too. That one with Ping, oh, there's one. I was trying to make it the whole time. He came. It seemed like he came down on me. I don't know if you guys caught it or if you guys saw exactly what happened. I don't know if I was pinching him a little bit. I definitely wasn't trying to. So sorry to him if that was on me. I know, kind of crushed his race, and then I go on to finish third. So don't feel great about that, but hey, we'll still take it. Go into the playoffs with a little bit of momentum here.
You end the regular series season 8th place in the points. The next 3 weeks, we swing out to Auto Club, then Watkins Glen, then Atlanta Motor Speedway for the round of 12. 3 very different racetracks of different extremes. What are you going to have to do to fight your way through and make your way to the round of 8?
I think it's going to be just consistency. There's a lot of really good, really fast drivers in this league, so that's going to be the main thing. You can't have a race where you take yourself out of it. So I think just drive clean and go from there.
Wish you the best of luck then when we go racing 1 week from today. Congratulations on your 3rd place finish, and we will see you when we go racing once more at Auto Club Speedway.
Sounds good, guys. Hope to talk to you then.
Ryan Dees will escape his interview with only one on the counter this time around, Derek. But again, playoffs. We're now officially in playoff season, and points are going to be reset, and everything is going to be swinging on back to Fontana. In the other seasons, it's just been the regular season race, and in fact, in Season 1, it was the 2nd race of the season. This time, it's the 1st race of the round of 12. It's a new spot for it, and it's an interesting choice for an opener.
Well, and what's more interesting than the track, Nolan's all these drivers who have been safe at the top of the leaderboard for 3, 4, 5 races in a row, Dalton Kilroe, Ben Lacey and others, that's over, right? Any mistake is magnified. Any mistake, any wall hit, any caution, any car contact, any pit road speeding violation. It's as if this is really the first race of the season and there's no room for error. So I'm excited to get up to Auto Club next week. It's a track that we love to race at that unfortunately just doesn't exist anymore. So I think there's a lot of, mystique around that and how it races and what we'll do. But in 1 week's time, it all begins again.
It all begins again 1 week from today, in which case we will be kicking things off in Fontana. For now, there's quite a few second races to get out of the way before then. We'll, of course, be swinging back down to Homestead Miami Speedway to the MFRD Cup Series in their second race. It's Lexington, Ohio for the Beer League. And then on Saturday, the SRA IAL Truck Series swings out to Atlanta Motor Speedway for round number 2 at the Hampton, Georgia 200. In the meantime, if you want to find out more about who we are and what we can offer you, you can check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. Playoff season just around the corner. 12 drivers have been confirmed into the mark, and now it's all going to be a question as to who will make it through into the round of 8 to be there to fight it out in Homestead Miami Speedway in about 2 months' time. Once again, find out more about us at www.greenflagtv.com. As always, my name is Nola Rempel alongside Derek Watson. Thank you all so much for taking the time to join us for some more thrilling Monday night racing action. We'll see you next week with playoff season in California.